Speaking of Kamala, right? How do you feel about her? Because I know you made a comment earlier saying that she don't claim her black side.
House niggas, just like Barack Obama, they do what they need to do to stay close to the white power structure. She made a career locking up black people. This is the same woman who
Facts.
went on international television, Art. Let me remind you, about a year or two ago and said America is not a racist country. You want me to go vote for a so-called black woman who went on international television and told the world that America is not a racist country? She spit in the face of the family of Trayvon Martin. She spit in the face of the family of Breonna Taylor. She spit in the face of the family of Michael Brown, Alton Sterling, Philando Castile, Amir Locke, Dante. We can go on and on. Tamir Rice, all the Africans murdered by police, which are state-sanctioned executions. Let us be clear. The police are agents of the state. When the police kills a black person,
State-sanctioned execution. That's deep.
that is a state-sponsored execution. And in response to all this racism, the execution of George Floyd, this part-time black woman says America is not racist. And when I say part-time, Art, I'm not poking fun at her because she's being mixed race. I want to be clear. I'm poking fun at her because she can rarely be found speaking up for black people. My issue ain't her being mixed race. Nobody's responsible for how they come into this world. My issue with her is not identifying with her people. I remember another interview I saw with Kamala Harris, Art, and she said, somebody asked her, what are y'all going to do for black people? And she said, we can't pass laws just for black people. She said this.
She said
we can't do things just for black. Well, Kamala Harris, can I ask you a question, Madam Vice President? If the Democratic Party can't do anything just for black people, why did y'all pass a law only for Asians? Why did y'all pass a law only for Native Americans? Why did y'all pass a law only for transgenders? Why did y'all pass a law only for LGBTQs? Why did y'all pass a law only for immigrants? If you can't do anything just for black people, this is what she said. It came out of her mouth. If you can't do anything just for black people, how was it possible for you and President Biden to do all these other things for specific ethnic groups in this country from whose benefit no other group can take anything from?
And that's what I said when she first said that. That was my exact argument.
Complete contradiction. Kamala Harris is not for black people. But you know what's going to happen? I'm going to tell you why they went that way. Or if they stay that way, they could flip her out. But let's say, for the sake of conversation, because Joe Biden did pass her his nomination, even though it's not his decision. She has his support, but the party got to choose her in Chicago. But let's say Kamala Harris gets the Democratic Party nomination in Chicago the week of my birthday, August 19th, I believe the DNC begins, or the 17th. Anyhow, here's why they're going to go that way, Art. Why are the Democrats about to give us the first woman president in American history? I'm going to tell you why. In 2022, there were 10 million more women registered to vote than men in America. Now I'm talking everybody, Art. Black, white, red, yellow, brown, gay, straight, everybody. There were 10 million more women registered to vote than men, even though there's only about 3 more million women than men in this country. Population-wise, there's not a great gender disparity. You only see that when you come to the black community for reasons of extermination, incarceration, okay, miseducation, right, and sexual confusion, right? So outside of black America, the male-female gender balance is almost the same. I believe there's 168 million adult women in America, and there's about 165 million adult men in America. So you only have a 3 million person discrepancy. Now, those 10 million votes, there's 10 million more women registered to vote than men are. Elections have been decided by votes less than 10 million. You've had elections decided by 1 million. You had elections decided by 2 million. You've had elections decided by 3 million. You've had elections decided by 700,000 votes. If there's 10 million more women registered to vote than men in America across all race, colors, and class, if we nominate Kamala Harris as the Democratic Party's president, can she bring us those women votes, those undecided women? Can Kamala Harris bring us all the poor black women, the working class black women, the upper class? Can she bring us the white middle class women? Can she bring us the poor white women? They are banking on the fact that there's 10 million more women than men registered. And if we stick Kamala Harris out there for us, can she bring us the greater share of those 10 million female votes? Here's what it's going to come down to. Do white women prefer a woman of color or a white man? That's what it's going to. Do white American women prefer to have a white man in the presidency or a woman of color? And you know what I think, Art? I'm not completely decided, but I would say to you, wasn't this question already answered for us when Donald Trump took on Hillary Clinton? Did not America's white women choose Trump over Clinton? When it came time for the Electoral College to cast them votes, they went with Trump. So if they chose Trump over Clinton, here's the question, Art. If American white women chose Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton the first time Trump ran against a Democratic female, why would they switch and choose Kamala Harris over Trump the second time? If they chose Trump over a very well experienced, very popular Hillary Clinton the first time, why would they switch and now choose a black woman, half black, half South Asian, half East Indian? Why would they choose a black woman over Trump when they didn't even choose Hillary Clinton over Trump? But I'm telling you this, brother, I'm going to the Democratic National Convention. I'm going to try to get there because that's going to be a circus. You ain't seen a nigga show in your life like what you're about to see, because they got to outdo Hulk Hogan. They got to outdo Amber Rose. They got to outdo Ben Carson. You want to see a house coon show in Chicago like you have never seen. I cannot wait to see which rapper. I cannot wait to see which rapper, which basketball player, which football player, which comedian, which actor. I cannot wait to see which one of these house nick celebrities is going to go to bat for the Democratic Party. And here's my thing, Art. I'm not dismissing the black celebrities for speaking at the Democratic National Convention just for that reason. I'm dismissing them, Art, because they're going to go up there, show up and show out for the Democrats without a single promise to their community, without a single pledge to their community, without a single concession to their community. With all we've been through and all we about to go through, how the hell can you fly your ass to Chicago, basketball player, football player, rapper, actor, dancer, singer, comedian? How can you go up there and show up and show out for Kamala Harris, who never did a damn thing for black people? That's my issue. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Every black person listening to me, on November the 5th, you need to be in a black community when the election results are read. My bougie nigga living in the suburbs, living in an all-white community.
Listen up. Listen
you
up.
do not want to be caught outside on November the 5th if Donald Trump loses. Because here's my thinking, Art. We only got 3 months and a few weeks to the presidential election. Let me say that again. We only got 3 months and a few weeks to the presidential election on November 5th. You mean to tell me Joe Biden backs out with 3 months left, anoints Kamala to his spot? She only got 3 months to campaign, and you still going to beat a very popular Donald Trump? Do you think the American people are going to believe Donald Trump lost fairly after y'all tried him in court, convicted him in court? And I know we'll get later to the artificial assassination, but nonetheless, do you really think Americans are going to believe Kamala Harris beat Donald Trump straight up? I'm not too sure about that. And if poor white America thinks they were robbed of this election, that January 6th takeover, that was nothing but a pool party for what you're about to see in this country if Donald Trump loses this election. I would not want to be a black person in a white neighborhood on November the 5th, 2024, when those presidential election results are read and Donald Trump is not the winner. I believe white folks are going to show up and show out art. You better have a gun, a knife. Black people better exercise, what is it, our Second Amendment rights? Right to carry, is that the Second Amendment or the Fourth?
I want to say the second.
I think it's the second. Black folks better exercise their right to carry. You better buy every gun, every bullet you got. Because if Donald J. Trump loses this election, going against a Democrat who had 3 months to run, you had 3 months to run and you beat Donald Trump, white America gonna flip off, Art. I'm going to make sure I'm ready, brother. Make sure you're ready. And I want all my American Africans out there, wherever you live in America, especially if you're in a city that's predominantly white, if you're in a state that's predominantly white. You know, we in Philly, which is half black, half white, 50-50. You know what I mean? But black people, please be prepared for what can happen on these streets if Donald J. Trump loses that election. And to that point, Art, this is why I think the shadow government has a lot of deciding and a lot of reasoning and a lot of debating to do. Because here's the thing, Art. If you steal the election from Trump and give it to the Democratic Party, whether it's Kamala or anyone else, because you want to make sure China doesn't take over Africa, and you want to make sure China doesn't take over the Caribbean, and you want to make sure China doesn't take over second and third world, Central and South America. So you want a Democrat in there because Democrats have always had better relationships with black countries. If you do that, you might win the world, but you might lose America. Because if these white folks flip out, Art, look, let's be honest. The American public has more weapons than the American military. Let me say that again. The American public, 350 million people, they have more guns than the U.S. military. Now, the military has better weapons. The military has better weapons, but the people have more weapons. American military is no more than 500,000 people, Art. There's no more than 500,000. How are you going to put 500,000 against 350 million with more weapons? You're not winning that. If the U.S. military has to go to war with her own citizens, I believe the U.S. military will lose. And I believe a lot of people in the U.S. military will side with the American people. And by American people, I mean white American people. So the National Security Agency, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderbergers, the Federal Reserve, the Trilaterals, the Illuminati, the House of Rome, the Rothschilds, the Wahlbergs, the Morgans, the Stanleys, the Rockefellers, they got to ask themselves, if we rob Donald Trump so we can maintain Africa in the Caribbean, will that lead to social unrest in America? Will America degenerate into chaos? Will we have to evoke martial law? That's a hell of a decision to make. Do I go for the resources or do I maintain American status quo? Because, Art, if America breaks down internally, China is the new superpower. The only thing keeping China from being the world superpower right now is this country. If this country descends into chaos, China runs the world. Does the power structure, does the secret government of this country really want China in charge? That's the question.
Yeah, that's real talk. And speaking of Kamala, that's Montel Williams' old joint, right?
I believe they dated. But you know, politics and entertainment, those two worlds are very similar. And what I mean by that, people often date and compromise themselves to the top. I mean, the fact that Kamala Harris couldn't find a single black man to marry. I mean, you got to think about this. See, Art, you know, when we start talking about that snow bunny crisis, right? I'm not sure if people really see how deep this goes. See, if Art marries a white woman, it ain't just about you marrying a white woman. You married her culture. You married her values. You married her family. You married her race. Not only that, you're saying I couldn't find a single black woman on the face of the earth who was good enough to make my wife. When Kamala Harris married that white man, she basically told every black man on earth, none of you are good enough to be my equal. But guess what, Art? Don't be surprised that this whole thing was set up from the beginning by the shadow government. Don't be surprised. It could have been in the playbook 8 years ago that we're going to make Joe Biden step down on a Sunday. No way. No way. That could have been in the playbook to anoint Kamala. Kamala, and you say why? Why they want Kamala Harris? You know why? India is a world superpower. India is a world superpower. India is the tech giant of the planet Earth. She has one of the top 5 populations in the world. She's one of the most influential governments on Earth. And America cannot afford for Russia and China to draft India. And now America has to deal with a 3-headed monster. China is already one of the most populated nations in the world and is also one of the most economically powerful countries in the world. India is economically powerful. India has one of the large world populations. And just like China is the Walmart of the world, India is the tech giant of the world. So this could possibly be a play by the power structure to use Kamala Harris to go into India and try to use her diplomatic power to bring India back to America. Because remember, India is a BRICS country. India is in with Brazil, Russia, India, China, South America. She already in BRICS, but she hasn't formally said, I'm riding with China against America. India hasn't formally said, I'm riding with Russia against America. If India decides to ride with Russia and China, America over, we might as well all move out. And that's why I can see this as a diplomatic move. Giving the East Indians an American president, that's a hell of a consolation prize. Think about that now. I made one of you the president of our country to stop you from riding with Russia and China. It's a hell of a consolation prize. And let me say this to all my black women out there, because I love my Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority sisters. I love the pink and green. And I know Kamala Harris is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. But this is what I want to say to my AKA sisters and all black women. Not just my AKA sisters who I love and respect, tremendous respect for the AKAs and all the sororities, the whole divine nine. But if black women think Kamala Harris going to get in office and take care of them, if black women think Kamala Harris is going to get in office and take care of them, Art, they got something else coming. You know what she's going to take care of? Her East Indian immigrants. You think East Indian immigrants are already buying up a lot of the franchise restaurants and franchise stores? They're already buying up a lot of the hotel chains in America. Let Kamala Harris become vice president. By the time she's done, if she can get 8 years, by the time Kamala Harris is done being president of the United States of America, the East Indian people will be the priority minority in this country. Not the homosexuals, not black people, not Latinos. Let Kamala Harris get that White House. The East Indian American will be the priority minority by the time she leaves the Oval Office.
Dang. Hey, y'all can talk bad about conspiracy theories all y'all want, but I want to say about 5 years ago, I seen a conspiracy theory saying the first black president, the first female president is going to be a vice president. Is going to be a vice president, and the real president, okay, I gotta say this. The real president is gonna die. The real president is gonna die, and the vice president is gonna step up, and that's gonna be the first female president. And I seen that like 5 years ago when Donald Trump was president. When Donald Trump was president, I heard that. And then when I seen Biden, coming in office and who his vice president was gonna be, I was like, damn, that shit is crazy. It's coming together. And then years later, I don't know, bro. They said the NFL scripted, man. All this shit might be scripted, man. This shit might be like the Matrix. We might really be laid up somewhere with shit on the back of our heads, man. Shit, man. But this was another one like the other one. I am Mega. I'm up out of here.